You ever seen someone walk into a party they weren't even invited to and instantly become the center of unwanted chaos? That's exactly what played out when Meghan Markle stormed Kevin Costner's annual charity concert, a night that was supposed to honor first responders but instead turned into an accidental spectacle starring Meghan and her never-ending need for attention. What should have been a celebration of heroes turned into another chapter of the ongoing royal soap opera, and this time the fallout may be impossible to ignore. Kevin Costner's 805 live event is usually about community, music, and fundraising for the brave men and women who run toward danger while the rest of us run away. Cowboy hats, barbecue smoke, and good vibes fill the air. It's never been about glitz, royal gossip, or staged photo ops, but all of that was ripped away when Meghan and Harry waltzed in like they were still living off palace protocol, despite being long cut off. Meghan wasn't even on the guest list. Last year she hadn't been invited, and 2 years before, reports claimed she hijacked the energy with erratic behavior and her obsession with grabbing the microphone. So this year, many thought she'd stay away. Instead, she appeared unannounced, dressed as if she were attending a press conference, dragging Harry and a full-blown PR entourage in tow, turning a grassroots charity into her own personal red carpet event. Eyewitnesses say it escalated before the music even started. A young staffer working the event approached Meghan politely to explain she would not be allowed to speak on stage, a simple rule considering she wasn't scheduled as a guest or sponsor. Meghan at first smiled, nodded, and pretended she understood, but within moments she allegedly struck the woman with her free hand in what onlookers described as a calculated handbag switching slap, not a bump. Not an accident, a deliberate move that left the crowd in stunned silence. And what did Harry do? He stood there awkwardly, placing his hand on Meghan's back as if he were both embarrassed and trying to keep her from escalating further. Meghan grabbed for his hand immediately, almost like a guilty child clinging to a parent, knowing she had gone too far. The mask had slipped, and everyone in that crowd saw it. This isn't a one-off. Meghan's reputation for mistreating staff has been whispered about for years. Palace aides have quit in droves, assistants have left shaking their heads, and behind closed doors, the stories all sound the same: aggression, entitlement, and a temper that flares the second things don't go her way. If she's willing to lash out publicly at a charity worker, what happens behind the scenes when the cameras aren't rolling? That question has many worried, because this slap isn't just a single misstep, it's part of a pattern people are growing tired of excusing. The media spin machine, however, wasted no time. Within hours, glossy magazine articles appeared portraying Meghan as a graceful, supportive wife, merely attending to watch Harry shine. According to them, she hugged him gently, stood back respectfully, and applauded from the sidelines. But the reality, captured in dozens of photos, showed something entirely different. Meghan clung to Harry like a barnacle, refusing to step aside, refusing to let the focus fall anywhere else. While firefighters and first responders should have been the stars of the evening, the spotlight was hijacked by Meghan's need to dominate the stage. Even People magazine's glowing words couldn't erase what those who attended saw with their own eyes. It wasn't just awkward, it was damaging. By inserting herself where she wasn't invited, overshadowing a noble cause, and reportedly striking an innocent staffer, Meghan turned what should have been a positive night into a circus. And to make matters worse, neither she nor Harry donated a single dollar. No Archwell sponsorship, no fundraising contribution, nothing. They showed up empty-handed but full of entitlement, posing for staged photos with their hired paparazzi while bringing nothing of value to the cause. Everyone else dressed for barbecue and country music. Meghan and Harry arrived stiff, overstyled, and completely out of place, making it abundantly clear they weren't there for the event. They were there for themselves. Observers also noticed the familiar pattern of PR manipulation. Within hours, Meghan's team was circulating carefully worded stories about reconciliation with King Charles, about Harry's supposed meetings with family, about some kind of royal healing narrative. It's the same playbook every time: stir up drama, cause chaos, and then spin it back to the royals as if proximity to the crown somehow erases bad behavior. But the public isn't buying it anymore. Thousands of comments under those articles tore through the narrative, calling out the blatant attempt to rewrite reality. The more Meghan tries to control the story, the more obvious it becomes that the truth is slipping through the cracks. and those cracks are widening. Reports suggest that people who once worked closely with Meghan are starting to talk. Former aides, volunteers, and palace insiders are beginning to share stories of manipulation, of outbursts, of hostile treatment that left them burned out and unwilling to continue. For years, non-disclosure agreements and fear of backlash kept those stories locked away. But with this latest incident making headlines, the whispers are getting louder, and the possibility of legal action is now on the table if the young woman allegedly slapped at the charity decides to come forward. Even a minor civil complaint could unleash a floodgate of testimony. NDAs can protect secrets, but when physical safety is involved, the shield doesn't hold. And if one voice rises, others will surely follow. The most disturbing part of this isn't just Meghan's behavior, it's the desperation behind it. Every move she makes reeks of a need for attention, not substance. That's why she brings her own photographer, her own media team, her own curated narrative. She doesn't wait for history to write itself. She tries to script it in real time, hoping the public will accept the glossy version instead of the messy reality. But the public isn't fooled anymore. Every staged photo, every carefully planted headline is now dissected and exposed for what it is, an illusion, and when illusions start crumbling, consequences follow. Harry, meanwhile, looks increasingly like collateral damage. Once beloved as the rebellious prince who dared to defy royal tradition, he now appears hollow, dragged along in Meghan's shadow. His face at the concert told a story of exhaustion, confusion, maybe even regret. While Meghan scanned the crowd for cameras, Harry looked lost, as though he no longer remembered why he was even there. And perhaps the saddest part is how his own legacy is being drowned out. His much discussed new documentary about Princess Diana seems less like healing and more like a desperate bid for relevance, tethering his mother's tragic story to Meghan's endless drama. For many, that crosses a line from remembrance into exploitation. And yet, through all the noise, the true heroes, the firefighters, the emergency responders, the people risking their lives daily, were pushed to the background. They should have been the headlines. They should have been celebrated. Instead, they were reduced to supporting characters in Meghan Markle's uninvited performance. That, more than anything, left a bitter taste in people's mouths. When you overshadow genuine bravery with self-inflicted scandal, you're not misunderstood, you're misusing the spotlight. The internet is already buzzing with speculation about what happens next. Will lawsuits follow? Will more staffers come forward? Will the royal family finally distance itself completely from the chaos? Nobody knows for certain, but one thing is clear, the mask has slipped. The carefully polished image of Meghan as a misunderstood humanitarian is cracking under the weight of repeated scandals. People are no longer asking if she's crossed lines. They're asking when the consequences will arrive and how severe they'll be. For Meghan, this may be the turning point. Her reputation has survived controversy after controversy, but this time the evidence seems harder to dismiss. The slap, the entitlement, the overshadowing of a noble cause, the staged media spin, it all paints a picture the public is tired of seeing. And for Harry, the question lingers. How long will he continue to stand silently at her side, letting his story, his identity, and his legacy be swallowed whole by hers? This wasn't just another awkward appearance. It wasn't just bad optics. It was a moment that revealed far more than Meghan probably intended. It showed a pattern too consistent to ignore, a desperation too transparent to hide, and a disregard for others too blatant to spin away. And while her PR team will work overtime to soften the narrative, the truth is already out there. People saw it, people felt it, and people are talking. The charity concert was supposed to honor first responders, but instead it may be remembered as the night Meghan Markle's carefully built facade finally cracked in public view. Whether the fallout comes through legal channels, media exposure, or a growing distance from the royals, the storm is gathering. For years, Meghan has written her own version of events, but this time the story may no longer be hers to control, and that reality, more than anything else, may be what truly terrifies her. And as this storm brews, the stakes get higher. The more Meghan tries to control the narrative, the more attention shifts to the cracks in her image. Every exaggerated smile, every desperate grab for the spotlight only fuels more scrutiny. When the public starts connecting the dots between past staff resignations, repeated controversies, and this latest slap incident, the pattern becomes undeniable. It stops being about one mistake and starts being about character. That's where the danger lies, because once people decide they've seen the real version of someone, it's nearly impossible to convince them otherwise. Meanwhile, organizations and charities are quietly taking note. Who would want to risk having their event derailed derailed by headlines that focus more on royal drama than the actual cause. That's the long-term damage that Meghan may not have calculated. Reputations in the world of philanthropy are built on consistency and trust, and every time an event is overshadowed by theatrics, that trust erodes a little more. When your presence becomes more of a liability than an asset, invitations stop arriving altogether, and that may be the true consequence. Not a sudden dramatic downfall, but a slow, quiet freeze-out. The appearances, the glossy features, the media opportunities begin to dry up until all that's left is the echo of past scandals and the reputation of someone who couldn't stop turning every spotlight into a stage for herself. And when that happens, no amount of PR spin or carefully staged photographs will be able to bring back what's already been lost.